Big win for the 76ers.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any $5 bet. That's $200 if your bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com/locked on to get started. Hello, I'm Keith Pompey, one of the co-hosts of Locked On 76ers, and we got a lot to talk about this morning. Now, last night, the 76ers had a huge win. They defeated the Miami Heat 109-105. It was a game where Tyrese Maxey had 37 points. Joel Embiid averaged 29, right? They scored 66 of 109 points of the Sixers. Also, I want to talk to y'all about, give you a little bit of update on Anthony Melton, Robert Covington. We'll talk about that in the third segment. In the first segment, we'll also talk about Tobias Harris, who did not play. But in the third segment, I got to give y'all a little bit, a tidbit about life on the road. Yesterday, the last couple of days been crazy. Yesterday's been crazy. Today's going to be crazy. So, we'll talk about that. But look, last night, the 76ers got a huge win. I'm talking about a huge victory. This is a win that the 76ers had where you look at it and you say, you know what? You guys are a team that was struggling mightily early without Joel Embiid. When Joel Embiid wasn't there, those games, we know what they look like. They went from being the third best team in the East, third best team in the NBA. They were that good, right, at that particular time, to then they just started struggling. And now, all of a sudden, right now, the 76ers are within a game of sixth place with 5 games remaining. Now, what has to happen? Basically, for the Sixers, it's one of those things where if they win out, the Sixers got the easiest schedule in the NBA. But if they win out, you think that they'll have a chance. Now, right now, the Indiana Pacers are a game up on them, right? The Indiana Pacers are in sixth place. The Sixers are in eighth. The Miami Heat, who the Sixers defeated yesterday, are half a game ahead of the Sixers. Now, it's one of those things where the Pacers got to play the Heat. Now, the Sixers may need some help, some other things, but I'm here to tell you they're in a pretty good spot right now because right now the only team that they play that have a winning record is the Orlando Magic, right? They have Memphis. Now, we're talking about the Sixers, so we know that the Sixers are always a team that they'll have a hiccup here and there. Like, they'll mess up, right? But we also know that they have a back-to-back in this thing where Joel Embiid, this was his second game back from his knee situation. You know that Nico Batum hasn't been playing in back-to-backs, both ends of back-to-backs. And the same thing for Kyle Lowry. Now, you throw in the Tobias Harris factor. Tobias Harris has a bone bruise, a left knee bone bruise, right? He didn't play yesterday. He got an MRI. So, according to my source, he can miss 1 or 2 games. Now, the 1 or 2 games, you say, is he missed one already, so is he going to miss another one? So, here's the deal. So, with all that being said, it's kind of like things could happen, but at the same time, I'm here to tell you, the 76ers are in a good spot, a great spot. This was a great victory for them. I got to tell you, I have to. Like, they started off strong. I mean, they started off, I believe they scored the first 12 points they were started off 6 for 6. Maxey was getting wherever he wanted. Joel Embiid looked unstoppable. He looked like the Joel Embiid before the injury, and they were just flowing, right? But then all of a sudden, as this game goes, The Sixers would score. Miami would score. Then all of a sudden the Sixers would get cold. Miami would like, come back into it. And then all of a sudden it was just like, I don't know, man. It was weird. It's like, okay, you'll take over now. Then I'll take over. Then you'll take over again. And then I'll take over. It was like crazy. It was like that type of game, that type of atmosphere. So, it's one of those things where, the 76ers won the game because it was weird. Now, get this. Miami only had one made field goal in the final 8 minutes, right? And that came after the Sixers went on a 13-0 run to go up 107 to 102. And then Scary Terry Rozier, I believe it was like 40 something seconds left, came down and hit a three and pulled them within 2 points. What happened is Tyrese Maxey got a good steal at the end of the game. And then, in the closing seconds, and then with .5 seconds left, he buried a pair of foul shots to basically ice the game, clinch the game, right? And then the game was over at that point. But here's the thing, something to look at. Joel Embiid, 29 points. He was 11 for 25 shooting, 3 for 6 on threes. He had 4 rebounds, 3 assists. He had 1 block and 1 steal. Now, he did struggle down the stretch, right? Joel Embiid missed his final 7 shots. He was 0 for 4 in the fourth quarter. Then he missed, his final 3 in the third quarter. He was a team worst, minus 19 in 32 minutes, 40 seconds, which means is while he was on the floor during those times, the Sixers were outscored by 19 points. Now, a lot of times you look at that and you say it's a little misleading, what have you, what not, the whole nine. But you can just tell he was gassed. But I'm going to tell you this. Tyrese Maxey, we said there was going to be 2 guys who were going to benefit the most from playing with Embiid. One was going to be Buddy Hield. It hasn't happened. Buddy struggled mightily again. He was 0 for 6 from the field and 0 for 4 on threes. He had 2 points. It was a bad performance for his. And the second player was Maxey. We all know the pairing of Maxey and Joel, right? We know all that. Well, look, Maxey had 37 points for a game high. He also had a game high 11 assists. He made 15 and 21 shots. Now, his 3-point shooting, he had 5 threes, but he did it in 14 attempts, right? But he only got to the foul line twice. Shooting the ball 26 times, only got to the foul line twice is crazy to me. But he made both of those foul shots he had, right? He did have 9 rebounds, right? He had a steal and he had a block, right? So he played well. Now, Tobias Harris didn't play. When the Sixers were struggling, it was one of those things you were saying to yourself, somebody needs to step up in the fourth quarter. Well, that somebody was Kelly Oubre Jr. Kelly Oubre scored 7 of his 18 points in the fourth quarter. Now, Kelly finished the game shooting 8 for 14. He had 8 rebounds. He had 2 steals. He had 1 block. I'm telling y'all, Kelly Oubre is settling in. He's looking really, 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 really good. And, this is something that they needed tonight. They really needed Kelly to step up with Tobias out, the whole nine, and he has. And I'm going to be honest with you. He's been playing this way for a while now, for over a month. He's getting really acclimated. He played the second most minutes of the game. Maxey played 41 minutes, 22 seconds. Kelly Oubre was on the floor 41 minutes, 5 seconds. It's funny. He left. He had a big scratch on his head, on his face. It's weird. It looked like he had an Adidas sign, y'all, because he got 2 scratches right, like there. And then he has another one right now. Again, I got the beard, so the whole nine. But he got like 3 scratches. 2 of them look new, look fresh. It's like, yo, bro, you Adidas. Somebody even joked with him, saying in the locker room, like, you know what, Kelly, you look like Adidas, right? And Kelly just laughed it off, the whole nine. But it looked like he needed to get sponsored from him. But he did. He looked that way But I'm here to tell you it was a good win. The Sixers, I'm not going to say they don't control their own destiny, but at the same time, they're in there to play. And they got the easiest schedule. You look at the Indiana Pacers, they got the the 10th toughest schedule in the NBA right now. So you factor in that if the Sixers handle their business, they should be fine. They should be fine. And they need to thank the Brooklyn Nets for beating the Indiana Pacers to put them in the spot that they're in right now. So it was pretty good for them. So we'll see what happens. We'll actually see what happens, but I believe it was pretty good for them to have to show that they're still alive because I was one of the people who said they were going to be dead. Now I want to talk to y'all about Fire TV, right? Fire TV is your destination for sports, from live games to highlights to in depth analysis. Fire TV offers an amazing viewing experience with smart TVs, as well as the Fire TV stick that you can plug into your existing TV that provides access to millions of movies and TV episodes, as well as free and live TV. Whether it's opening weekend for baseball or college basketball tournament, you're going to want to have a Fire TV, right? Fire TV recently created Fire TV channels to create a constant supply of latest videos for your favorite sports brand, all for free. That includes all of us at Locked On and the most of the big pro leagues and college conferences as well. Fire TV channels let you dive into all the game analysis, highlights, and more to keep up with all the latest in the world of sports, March Madness, NBA, MLB, and lots more. Not to mention great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, coaching videos as well. Check out Fire TV on Fire TV and add on Alexa devices. If you haven't checked our Fire TV channels, you should. Trust me. Do it today, people. I'm telling y'all, do it today. You won't be disappointed. Now I want to talk to y'all about FanDuel. The sports calendar is loaded and FanDuel's making it even more exciting to get on the action. Because right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any $5 bet. That's 200 bucks you can use to bet the tourney MLB, ML, MLB, NBA, NHL, and so much more. Visit fanduel.com/locked on and make your first bet a big win. FanDuel, America's number one sports book. I'm telling y'all, do it today, people. Definitely do it today. So here's the thing. So we talked about Tobias not playing, and then you hear the thing about we talk about Robert Covington, and DeAnthony Melton. Now DeAnthony Melton is with the Sixers on the trip. He's here with on the trip. Um, but the thing is, Nick Nurse was asked about the coach of the Sixers was asked about these guys coming back and has he ruled them out yet? And he said they're not. They haven't ruled them out yet, right? And I asked him. Now the crazy thing is, Covington hasn't played since December 30th, while Melton has sat out 19 straight games, and even that's misleading because he sat out 19 straight games, but before that he played in 3 games, and then he missed a bunch of games, and before that he missed 3 games, and I mean it's just he's been out a lot. Like he's only played in 5 games total since December the 30th. But the 76ers have yet to rule him out, returning to play this season. But it seems like a possibility based on what Nurse says Thursday, as the team's best perimeter defenders remain sidelined. I think we're still trying with both of them, right? This is what Nurse said. I think we're still trying. I think they're getting on the court. that's always a good sign. So I think they're still a little ways away, right? Now, he says, I think there's some, once you get on the court for workouts and you grow through some stuff, there's always some times that needs to pass. Like basically, you get on the workout, you got to pause for a couple of days to see how the knee and all that stuff reacts. And then they got to play against live competition, all that stuff. So they haven't done all that. So we're trying. I don't think we'll rule them out unless we absolutely have to for good, but we'll see, right? So we'll see what the Sixers can have to do. Now, but the thing is, I'm just telling you, when you look at a guy like DeAnthony Melton, he can really help them. I mean, I'm talking about both of those guys are their best perimeter defenders, but Melton was in the midst of his best season. Like the 6-year veteran averaged a career best 11.6 points to go with 3.8 rebounds, 3.1 uh, assists, and 1.6 steals. He was second in the league in steals and one of the deflection leaders before his injury. So this is crazy. And Nick Nurse says, like, matter of fact, he was a starter for us. He was a starter for us. He started a lot of games a year ago. He was a very good defensive player, right? Um, he can make the open shot. He makes good plays and makes good reads on the defensive end, and he's an experienced guy. Now, so that's kind of tough for him. Now, Covington, he played for the Sixers before back in the day, but the team most recently acquired him in the trade with the Los Angeles Clippers on over one. Now, that the reserve small forward averaged 4.5 points, 3.4 rebounds, and 1.3 steals in 16 minutes off the bench. Now, the one thing that I wanted to let y'all know is the Sixers made a roster move yesterday. They converted reserve point guard Jeff Doughton Jr.'s two-way contract to a standard deal for the remainder of the season. The 26-year-old signed his two-way contract with the team back on March the 2nd. Doughton has averaged 4.4 points, 2.4 assists, and 12.3 minutes in 7 appearances, right? The Sixers made the move in part due to being forced to have 14 standard contract roster players by Friday, right? This comes after DJ Wilson's 10-day contract recently expired. So it's a move that they had to make, and they made it, and, it works out. But I tell you what, Doughton has been a pretty good addition. He is going to be a pretty good addition. He plays well. He does everything that they ask him to do. I like the guy. I think he could play. He's a quality, as they say, a quality, a third point guard for a team. I actually like him. I mean, it's funny, there's certain players, they don't. He's a guy that you don't ask to play a lot, right? You don't ask him to come in, and you don't ask him to do a lot of things. But I'm gonna tell you this: when he comes in, you can't say like, oh, he's not an NBA talent. You know what I mean? The guy looks good. He does what he has to do, and he plays well. So, you can't say that he's not an NBA talent. So I think that his his uh his addition, his getting his getting his contract is well deserved. Now, the one thing that I will say that was maybe a little bit shocking to me was the fact that uh, Ricky Council didn't get a deal, right? I mean, you look at Ricky Council, and you say to yourself, like, here's a guy that has been balling and has been doing stuff, and you wonder, like, okay, now I know they need they got like, well, Doughton is the fourth point guard. Basically, it depends on what you want to call Tyrese Maxey. He's the fourth point guard. But so you wonder, like, okay, you guys, signed him, but Ricky Council was a guy who gave y'all quality minutes when needed. And, he's not a guy that, the team picked up. So, that's just, to me, is like just a little bit of a question. But at the same time, I'm not taking anything away from Dalton. I think he's a good player. It's just that, it's just one of those things where you look at counsel and you ask yourself, like, what didn't, how come he didn't get a job? But it is what it is. It just really is what it is. And, I think that the Sixers, will be fine. And counsel, believe me, he's going to get a standard deal. If not from the Sixers, which I think he will next year, you never know. But, he'll definitely get one from somebody. He's that good of a player, right? That good of a player. Right now, I want to talk to y'all about Robin Hood, right? Robin Hood. And no, I'm not talking about Robin Hood, the old show. I'm talking about, the Robin Hood, the great Robin Hood, right? So did you know that even if you have a 401k for retirement, you can still have an IRA? Robinhood has the only IRA that gives you a 3% boost on every dollar you contribute when you subscribe to Robinhood Gold. But get this, now through April 30th, Robinhood is even boosting every single dollar you transfer in from other retirement accounts with a 3% match. Ooh, that's really nice. That's right, no cap on the 3% match. Robinhood Gold gets you the most for your retirement thanks to their IRA and the 3% match. The offer is good through April 30th. Get started at robinhood.com. Boost script, fees apply, and for some legal info, right? So here's the thing, y'all. This trip right now, you can see the sunlight been ready to come up. The Sixers were supposed to have practice today. They're not. So I got a long flight. Well, I couldn't get a direct flight to Memphis from Miami. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna be in the airline, in the air for like 8 hours. Well, just traveling for 8 hours. I got to fly to DC. So I'm going to DC. And then from DC, I'm going to fly to Memphis. So I'm going up and then boom, right? Crazy, right? Um, but I didn't get here until yesterday. Now, I'm going to tell you this. So the deal was the Sixers didn't have practice uh, on Wednesday. So I pushed my flight up, and that was kind of good, but in a way, it's kind of crazy. So I pushed my flight up, and I'm supposed to fly out of Philly at 1 something. Next thing you know, I get there at 11. I always try to get there 2 hours early. I get there at 11, get out the Uber. So I got the Uber, I got a notification that my flight was delayed until like 3:30. So I'm like, all right. So I write a story, do what I got to do. Next thing you know, get another thing. The flight is delayed until 5 o'clock. So at that point, we're at the gate, whatnot. Me and other people about to hop on the flight. And we're sitting there waiting. And then one of the airport workers says, "Hey, y'all, I don't know what they're telling y'all, but there's no plane coming in. There's no plane coming in." Like, what? So then next thing you know, around 6 o'clock, it's one of those things where we get notified that our flight was canceled. Now, by that time, there was a lot of flights canceled before that. So I'm on my app. I'm trying to get a flight to Miami either later that night or the first thing smoking in yesterday morning, Thursday morning. Well, I was able to get a flight Thursday morning, but the problem is it was a connector flight. So, which means I missed shoot around. I missed yesterday's shoot around. So and then here's the crazy part. So I scheduled an Uber from my house yesterday morning. I get up at 3 o'clock, supposed to meet the Uber driver at my house at 4. At 3:50, I got a notification that was canceled. So I'm like, oh, here we go. So next thing you know, I'm like trying to get another Uber, this and that. I couldn't get one. So I said to myself, well, shucks, I'm gonna have to pay. Or let me get like a black car or something like that. I'm pretty sure, they're available, this and that. So I do that. Now the brother, whoever it was in his car or whatever, you see him get out the house on the app, like you can see on your phone the app, and then he was parked at the light or whatever, the end of the block for like 20 minutes. And I'm like, yo, come on, man. I know you're not going to do me like this. I know you're not going to do me like this. Well, needless to say, he did me like that. So after a while, I canceled it and I got a check on that because I think he's going to get paid. I think that's what he wanted to do. So then all of a sudden, I just got another one. And then the guy came and I get to the airport. Now, the problem is, like I told you, I had a connector flight in Orlando, which is a couple hours away from here. But what happened is I had to get off in Orlando. Then you got to wait for the next flight to go. And I didn't get here until around 12:30. 12:30. I got here 12:30 yesterday. And, you know, it is what it is. Um, and I've been working ever since, and now I'm about to get out of here. Now I'm telling you this because this is just what it's like on the road. Life on the road can be crazy. So that's what it is. And now I'm looking at the sunlight, and I'm like, I gotta hurry up and get on this flight. I got an Uber driver downstairs, about to come downstairs in like 20 minutes to get me. So it is what it is. But that's the life. I love it, but this is some of the crazy things that you have to deal with. But look, y'all, I want to thank y'all for listening today. I want y'all to have a blessed day. I want, and let you know that I will be back tomorrow so we can talk about, advance the Sixers game Saturday night. But I want y'all to know Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. And now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channel app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On Plus, our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channel app. All right. Again, I want to thank y'all for listening, and I definitely want y'all to have a blessed day. Peace.